Matt Pocket here with Laker volleyball coach Eric Snyder, our preseason video package. Eric, welcome. And how do you feel about the state of your team coming into the regular season?
Well, we're excited. We're in the honeymoon phase of a brand new coaching staff, new direction for the program. The girls have been amazing with the transition. They've been working incredibly hard. They were impatient this summer trying to get back on campus and doing a lot of great stuff over the summer. We just had our game against Michigan, and that showed a lot of promise for us, even though it's a very, very capable opponent. But we're excited about our blue and gold scrimmage this week and heading to Wayne for another one on Saturday.
How did you feel about matches on the MAC now that we've had a little bit of time since then?
It was a phenomenal event. It was kind of blew me out of the water a little bit with seeing as many Lake State fans that came out and traveled all the way down to Mackinac, took the ferry over and spent some time there. Very grateful for the support from the administration, from the university itself. The girls definitely felt it. It was really cool to play that caliber of opponent and to have the support that we did, even though we're not a Big Ten school. We're an NCAA Division II school in the GLIAC, and that's fine. But for that type of environment and for that type of competition, it was a very cool event.
I felt like the crowd was probably 70-30 Lake State, and it felt like the team, A, really fed off that, and B, you can look at the final box score of it, but every rally, every serve felt like it was pretty closely contested too.
It was, and I mean, there were some digs that I didn't think we had any business getting up in the air, and there were some, highlights. But we showed the fact that we are a new coaching staff and a new, offensive system, new defensive system, and that we've only been practicing for 4 days, and they've been going at it for over a month. It showed a little bit there. I just finished watching some of the film, and there's some early mistakes that freshmen or teams that are just changing are going to make, but they're fixable. They're pretty easily fixable. So we'll get back in the lab tonight when we start training and get ready for our next opponent.
Who would you say are your top returning players for this year?
Top returners, I would say, after being around him and watching him play, definitely Morgan Deming is a phenomenal middle. Works really hard, has tall, long, moves well, loves to block, which is something that a middle really needs to do. I think Faith, our starting libero right now, has drastically improved over this past summer. Put in a lot of work this summer. I think Val and Gia on the outside have done a really nice job. They've improved certain aspects of their ball control and first ball contact. And I just think overall the every player has kind of come in with a different type of mindset, positive mindset where they're trying to get better and better the program.
Who do you think are some of the new players that will impress?
Certainly Elise Rizzoli. She's one of our outsides from Italy that we're kind of excited about, and hopefully she can come into her own a little bit. She's been in the U.S. before. She was an exchange student at Newberry, so she's kind of used to the U.S. So that's not too much of a transition for her. So we're excited about that. Caitlin, lefty right side with it touching almost 10 feet or about over 10 feet. Definitely gave Michigan a couple issues. And then Jenna DeRosa in the middle, she'll do really well. But all of them, we're all kind of expecting each freshman or transfer. Madison Dykema came in as a JUCO transfer late in the process, and we're kind of excited about all of them.
I could get into your resume and we could be here for an hour. But here in your first season on the sidelines in Sault Ste. Marie, just a couple of the highlights for those who don't know. NCCAA national champion, multiple Final Fours in the NCAA Division III and NAIA ranks, 3 Conference Coach of the Year awards, 2020 ABCA and NAIA National Coach of the Year. What do you think? What do you think you bring with all of that works here for Lake Superior State?
That none of those accomplishments are done alone. That it's not about me. I had some phenomenal assistant coaches, some very supportive administrations, great players who do all the work and make me look great, because it is all about them. There's coaches that spend time over their careers having success. That's a shared success, and it's important to always, and hopefully I can bring this to the program, is to remain humble. No matter how much success you have, wins or losses, it's more than that, and it's the development of a cooperative culture. It's a development of cohesion and care and love for each other. The best teams that I've ever coached have been ridiculously talented and won championships, but the defining figure of those teams and what they had over other teams was the fact that they loved each other. And that's really important. So I'm hoping, there's no guarantees, but I'm hoping that some of the things that we're doing behind the scenes can really teach these young women that, if they love and care for each other and they have each other's backs and they support each other, some of the success that they'll see and they'll share with each other.
As far as your staff goes, people who will help you build that success. Brooke Stover, she remains on board as an assistant coach. Mitchell Hoffman debuts as an assistant coach as well. And a return, Jen Constantino, who was the head coach for Laker Volleyball in 2013 and 2014. She now returns to the program as a volunteer assistant, and she's been working for many years now with the Diane Pepler Resource Center here locally. What does it mean to get a former head coach of the program in here and bring back Brooke and bring in Mitchell?
I'm very grateful. I'm spoiled, to be honest with you. They each have incredible characteristics that are helpful to the program. Brooke has is gung-ho about our social media and logistics and planning, and she is incredibly helpful. She's smart, intuitive, and will do anything for the program. Mitchell is young, enthusiastic, athletic, former men's player that I've coached against. He's excellent, and he'll really help our development, especially in the middles and blocking wise. Jen's kind of easy. I mean, she's been there, done that. We've crossed paths before, throughout our careers. She actually hired a coach that I took the reins at the Coast Guard Academy. She hired him, the previous coach, as her assistant at Quincy. So we're semi-connected. She's very well connected in the Sault Ste. Marie area. Intelligent, hardworking, just loves being a part of volleyball again. So yeah, I mean, it's, people ask a lot of times if they see big staffs, what does a head coach do? And I go, I don't do very much. They help with everything, and I'm very lucky to have those three.
How would you define your goals for this season and beyond, short term and long term?
Well, our team goals every year are twofold. They're twofold for the coaching staff, and then they get together and they design their own goals, their own goal for the season. We have one academical and one athletical every year, and it doesn't really change. We want a 3.5 cumulative GPA in the program or higher. We want to be the top academic program in the department. That's a focus for us, and I think it's fully capable of happening. We have a lot of smart, intuitive, high academic young ladies on our team. Other one is to win the GLIAC, and that may sound advantageous. It may sound to some people, look at your record the past couple of years. Why would you ever think that you could win, the GLIAC with GV and Ferris and Wayne and Tech and Northern, like all these are really good programs, but so are we. We have pieces that will get better and better throughout the course of the year, and if that's not our goal, what are we doing? That's probably the easiest way into the NCAA tournament. But let's try to get there. Why not? We're gonna be underdogs in a lot of games. 5 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now, continue to recruit really well in the state of Michigan and beyond. There's a lot of talented players in the state of Michigan now. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! Like I've been to some of these, even regional tournaments down in Grand Rapids, and it is amazing to see some of the talent in this state. It's just crazy. Then obviously you have the internationals right across the border in Canada, and then the Midwest itself is just chock full of talent. So, and I think that the university as a whole has a lot to offer and is very attractive. This is a beautiful area. Our campus is gorgeous. It does get a little cold, but it's still a great place to go to school.
Newsflash: the Midwest gets a little cold.
It gets a little chilly. Florida gets super hot. And this is a really cool place to live. It's a really cool place to go to school and enjoy your college experience.
Eric Snyder, like a volleyball coach with the season coming up, what do you feel the energy of the team is like as we go into our final stretch here until the regular season begins?
I think it's a combination of nervous anticipation. They do have a little bit of nerves. It's very new for them with the coaching staff and the systems that we have in place, but it's not a scared nervous. It's a excited nervous of just wanting to prove ourselves and see what we're capable of as a unit. I think collaboration is a big part of it. I think a lot of the girls haven't been asked before what they think of certain things and what they want to see the program become. So I think that that's a big part of it as well. And honestly, just kind of an underdog mentality heading in. We're not supposed to be all that great, but these girls are pretty awesome, and the coaches are awesome, and we have a really good thing that we're set up to do. We may surprise some people this year. I'm hoping we do. There's no guarantee of that. We got to put the work in, but I'm hoping that we surprise some people.
Eric Snyder, Laker volleyball coach. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you.